I would just I would just like to show you just briefly Architectuul, our open source archive, catalog, and also online journal, accessible to everybody. This is like one of the pages that you might check. What I would like to stress just before the beginning of this presentation is the cultural hackathon for forgotten masterpieces. This is a digitization of the almost 600 modernist buildings in Kaunas. So we partnered Kaunas 2020, Skopje, Contineo 2020, Kaunas 2022, I'm sorry, Skopje 2020, Contineo, and Lokomomo, Germany in Berlin, plus Architectuul, the forgotten masterpieces. So we created the catalog, the open architecture archive, and you are all invited on the 24-party people event, which is the Forgotten Masterpieces Cultural Hackathon, which will be on the 30th of April, starting at 2 p.m. until the next day from 2 p.m. We will have two keynotes. One will be Kyung Park, which is the professor in San Diego and also curator of this year Korean Pavilion. The other keynote speaker is Mateusz Celik, the LINA founder and also future architecture platform founder. And this will be 24 hours. I will be in Skopje. My colleague Christian Burkhardt will be in Frankfurt, and we will have a bunch of digital champions. We call them digital champions, and we call our LINA members DAF. You know what DAF is, Deutsche Mechanische Freundschaft, but it's also Digital Architectural Fellows. Today I will talk, or I will try to show you what are the paradigms of the changing world. Can we make a new agreement that is not human-centered? And how decolonializing methodologies can change the perception of ownership into one of a caretaker. My comrade Anna will help me with this presentation. You can be focused on me, you can be focused also on the thing I will do. But let's start the story in Fiesta. Drawing a landscape, order, land, and the sea, in a triptych of story between the land, the sea, nobody's watching actually. You can also watch, we are going actually to Fiesta. This is also one part of the performance, so to make you a bit more confused. And I created now the land. Fiesta.
Are we still in Fiesta?
Yes.
Okay.
It's okay, you can stay in Fiesta.
Yeah.
This is actually the size of Fiesta. So I'm drawing on this land, I'm drawing the city of Trieste, which is settled just down to the Kars plateau on the other side of the border with Slovenia. And now slowly we are going from Trieste towards the border. And the first town on the border is Mudra. There is a small curve between the land and the sea. And Mudra Then we're going through Lazaret, which is the main border. And on the Lazaret, you can go further on Anna, thank you. This is a very interesting photo which you can see. And this, go please one back. This is the main border today, so there are lots of people from Italy who are coming to the border to export gas because it's cheaper. And here, this, where we are now, it's the natural reservoir, the Bugaric. We're going back, forward, and back towards the Algotra, which is the orthopedic hospital. Built already at the end of the 19th century. And then to Ankaran, which was on part of Koper municipality, but in the last few years it has its own municipality because Koper ate all the territory. This is the port. First we will do Ankaran. Then we will do Koper Peninsula. Koper was on an island. The exchange of the law and the previous mayor saved the spot for 16 years, sold the public land to the private investors, so it built new walls of conservatism. Koper is not only a city, it's a conglomeration of the city, island, and our port, which is almost 5 times bigger than the city. So you can see how it looks now. You can go further down, and this is the peninsula of the Bugaric. It's a natural reservoir, which was later on basically changed. So you can go further forward. This is still Koper, yes, with the port and the city of consumption on its borders, which is basically covering. This is the interesting situation when the prison on the right side is sharing the parking lot with the shopping mall, because the prison was built in according to a Sonation plan from 1984, and the shopping mall was built after 2007, after this land was sold. Next one. Story. This is a trip actually with Google Maps, as you can see. I didn't have time to go by myself, but I'm doing this road basically every day. And this is the entrance of the city center, and forward, next, yes, just to have an impression how beautiful is the city with a little small skyscraper. And now here it's big from Edo Fields, and these are the cruising ships, which are coming from Venice and to Trieste and to Koper. And this is the last, let's say, it's called Sagrada Familia. It's an unfinished project, which on one part has a situation of the public-private partnership. No, we'll go back, please stay here. Calm down, my dear comrade, it's all okay. So the public-private partnership creates a monster which covers the view on the city center. It was due in 15 years to change the ownership from public-private into complete private. So instead of the combination of the Olympic pool, municipality, part, banks, and the hotel is changed into the private apartments. And now we go to the story of COVID. These are the pictures which Anna, you can go a bit slowly through. At the sunset, during the COVID time, which I experienced every day walking on this path on the Beli. The Beli is actually a national reserve. It has a cliff, it has then later it had a beach, it has a child resort, it had a tourist resort. There was built, as I said, a medical hospital. There was built also a police resort. There was built a ministry of. I like the word Ministry of Space, but it's not the right. Ministry of Sunset could be too. But the latest situation is that at the police resort was a shelter for the newcomers which came from Ukraine. And during this focusing on the sunset, I actually realized how important is the connection between the humans, the sea, and the land. Because this all creates a space where all these three entities can meet. Now please put the music.
Yes.
The border between Italy and Slovenia was stabilized in 1954, but it was initially subject to many modifications. The first demarcation was set after the fall of the Austro-Hungarian Empire and located in the very east. It led to the Italian policy of assimilation of over 350,000 Greeks. This minority was severely oppressed under Mussolini, who took measures against them and organized the deportation of many members of the Slovenian resistance.
No.
The demarcation was confirmed in 1954 with the division of the free territory of Trieste. The region having been confiscated from Italy after World War II in accordance with the principle of ethnic balance. Val Canale and Salvia Veneta were attributed to Italy. the music off?
No.
Can you put it louder, please? It's going to the C. Between 1920 and 1947, border between Italy and Kingdom of Yugoslavia went further east. The definition of the border between Italy and Yugoslavia dates back to the Treaty of Peace with Italy in 1947. Some changes were made in 1954 when the free territory of Fiesta was divided between Italy and Yugoslavia. There were some adjustments. Until 1991, it was the border between Italy and Yugoslavia. Slovenia gained independence in 1991. The demarcation remains unchanged. 2007. The last change of the border was done 2007, and it was a slight change to reflect the current course of a river. The river. The subject of care. Make a new agreement with nature. Change the focus towards nature from subject to object. Change the perception to space. Please give it back. Change the perception to space. Change the perception to space.
From ownership into caretaker.
Change the perception to space from ownership into caretaker. Define a new vocabulary based on the relationship and trust. Create the architecture of caretakers. Nature should overwhelm the architecture. Nature is architecture. No questions, especially not from Sonia.
I'm already sitting on the borders.
That's the river.
You're on the character.
So I was doing Marina Abramović thing already. Really.
Thank you, Bostjan.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe some things do need to be decoded for the people, the person behind the computer from the start of the presentation of the hackathon project. Okay, a completely different introduction. Then we went into this sort of Google tour around Debilate each starting from Fiesta all the way to Pula, and then the story about the borders, the ever-changing borders in between Italy, Slovenia, and then what kind of a borderline that now Sonia is sitting on.
It's a border between nature and architecture. So the architecture of care, like let's say the resort, the children resort in the Bugaric. I mean, I was trying actually here to explain the let's say the very sensitive topics of this area, because between the border, which was kind of put away in 2003, there is still no connection, there is still no mobility. There are maybe 2 buses from Fiesta to Koper. And there is this nature, the natural resort, which actually was changing through different phases, like from a complete, landscape, which was then inhabited by the vineyards, slowly then by the architecture, and now this children resort, hospital, military area, in the 70s, 80s, which is now occupied by the newcomers from Ukraine, which I found in a way a good position, because it is kind of healing this territory, but the child resort in this point is kind of put on the border, because this child resort is for children with. So here, the child resort is open only in the summer, and it's not for all the children. It's only for the children which does not have like the families does not have enough income to put them anywhere else. So it's kind of a second class of child resort. And here I'm stating why they need to build new buildings in this reservoir instead of having or using just the architecture, like for using it for sleeping or to facilitate them, and use the nature on the peninsula to learn. And I think this would be one of the cares of let's say natural, sense, and also like sociological or like demographical part. So it's a kind of how to explain that we don't need to build on this territory, which you can see how the cities are growing, and how to use this nature, which if you see, like there is almost. I didn't go over the drawing the city borders, but they are always already merged. And for example, when the municipality of Koper was part of Nakarana was part of the municipality of Koper, the mayor started to build from one side and the other side, and in the middle is also another reservoir, which is like a beach of the conchas, shells, which basically, as everything is built, this does not have the same protection as it was, and the same it should go with the natural reservoir. So, the building started to be like a cancer, which was eating the land. And here we need to start to go back, from this land, which still remains, and cure it, defeat this cancer and push it back. Push it back. Kind of try to build it,
Your manifesto, the subject of care, and nature subject, and in a thought of thinking of nature as architecture, why in the end we always turn to architecture? Why can't nature just be nature?
Good question. Good point. Very good point.
And tell us a little bit more about the escape from the gallery and
This was
drawing
actually
in front of the cars.
This was actually trying to get through my comfort zone between this border, which I am experiencing since I was born in Yugoslavia as a Yugoslav person. I needed to change my citizenship into the Slovenian, although I'm from the mixed marriage in Yugoslavia. My mother was Slovenian, my father is Serbian. So as I explained, I was never enough Serbia in Serbia, and never in Slovenia in Slovenia. And this border is actually very present. So although it's not geographical, it's an invisible border, which also if you look at it, like the settlements, they don't grow this border. So in a way, it's interesting that this border can be treated also like this kind of healing nature. And for me, it was important to go with this border in the limitless way, you know, across this sea. So where the land meets the sea, and the human is basically part of it. So it's not the creator or the one who owns the land and the sea, but needs to be a caretaker. That's why I was trying to push my limits and to show myself that it's possible.
So was it therapeutic to use it because it was
Very
quite...
stressful for me. Oh no, he's opening the door.
Lock the door. Are there any questions from the audience? Or maybe the taxi drivers? Or
No, yeah, you can ask Sonia.
Just a remark. When you were doing this work, it came to me that actually Berlusconi, I told you that maybe Boston's first TV station in Capodistria in 1987. Yeah, so I think that in a sense it remained kind of this politically contested ground in many ways. And if you remember also when there was this whole issue with FOIBA, and so kind of there was the pressure. So I think that you really perform this contested ground, I think, in a sense, and make plastic. So
that was a praise, not a question.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you, Sonia. And the Architectuul thing was actually just a neckbeard, you know.
You're gonna pay for it.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I'm super excited.